Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brittany. I will be your Spanish interpreter. I will provide the instructions in English followed by Spanish, and we appreciate having everybody here tonight. If you are on a smartphone, depending what device you are using, you will locate the three dots or the globe icon. Please go ahead and click on it. The function is not on yet. It will be on momentarily. But when you do see the function on, you will see interpretation. Please go ahead and click on your designated language. In this case would be English, so you can hear the Spanish folks as they're speaking in Spanish. I will be providing interpreting in real time. If you have any questions, technical difficulties, please let me know or let us know through the Q&A function, and we'll be happy to try to help you out. I will now provide the instructions in Spanish. Muy buenas tardes todos, bienvenidos. Nos da gusto de que todos estén aquí con nosotros presentes. Yo soy Brittany y voy a proporcionar las instrucciones en español de cómo acceder a la función del canal de español. Ahorita no se ha encendido la función todavía, pero momentáneamente lo van a encender. Ya que lo hagan, dependiendo qué aparato estén usando, va a ubicar los tres puntitos en la parte inferior de su pantalla o un icono de terráqueo. Por favor, presiónelo. Usted va a ver Language Interpretation y después va a ver el canal Spanish o español y después va a poner Done o finalizar. Déjenos saber si tiene alguna dificultad técnica. Haríamos lo posible para ayudarle. Gracias. Back to you, Ms. Natalie.
Thank you, Brittany. Good afternoon and welcome everyone to our weekly Altadena Community Meeting. We have a few presentations and then we will answer questions that have been pre-submitted by community members. Zoom attendees can submit questions in real time using the question and answer function on the Zoom screen. Agency representatives are on the Zoom meeting responding live. Please note that questions submitted to the YouTube live chat will not be answered. We encourage you to scan the QR code on your screen and join us via Zoom. Supervisor Barger, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. As many of you know, I authored a motion at our recent Board of Supervisors meeting to ensure residents don't have to pay permit fees to rebuild. I am excited to share that the form to waive fees or to get a refund if you've already paid them is now available. You can access that form at our Department of Regional Planning's website, planning.lacounty.gov. Make sure to fill out the form as soon as possible and tell your friends and neighbors to make sure they know to submit it as well. I'm hopeful that this will be a much needed source of reprieve for many. Extra fees cannot and will not stand in the way between you rebuilding your homes and your lives. With that, we have a lot of speakers, so let's get started right now.
Thank you, Supervisor Barger. Turning it over to our first presenter of the evening, Colonel Avichal with the Army Corps.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor, for allowing me to speak today. I'll give a general overview and then I have some more specific updates. So generally speaking, right now, 5,539 people have opted into the program. That is an increase of about 30 in the last week. And then in terms of opt-outs, about 531 have opted out, and that is no change in the last week. In terms of cleared properties, this is for the removal of fire and ash debris. We are at 98.5% complete, so the majority, well over the majority, almost to the end here. So 98.5% cleared of fire ash debris in the Eaton fire zone, and then completed. That's returned the right of entry back to the county. We're at 96.8%. So again, you'll see a lot less crews out and about. We are down to 12 crews, debris removal crews right now. So a lot less activity all throughout Altadena and Pasadena and Sierra Madre. Okay, so a couple quick updates here. So the Altadena Golf Course. As our operations have slowed down, this week will be the last week that we will accept any new material onto the Altadena Golf Course for the reduction. So once we stop receiving any more additional material, we'll spend about the next 30 days demobilizing all of our reduction equipment and then begin the golf course restoration itself. So we've already been in close contact with Parks and Recreation, and we have a good path forward for that restoration. Second update is going to be the Elliott School So just for awareness, we have begun demolition of the Elliott School right there on Lake Avenue in Altadena. This one is going to be a little bit more of a technical debris removal. So we are going to preserve the tower and many of the buildings that did not burn. So this project will probably be the last project that we are still doing here in Altadena, and it'll take about 3 months, maybe even 4 months going forward. So just wanted to inform everybody about that. That's going to be a technical type of debris removal, and it will take some time. Then last 2 items here, so abatement properties. So we are still tracking that we are going to receive some abatement properties from the county, and that when we get those should be on around 15 July. And then lastly, just more of an internal thing, but Colonel Swenson is going to be leaving this week from the mission. He's been here right at the cap of 180 days. So he will be leaving this week, and you'll be stuck with me for at least another month or so. So, that concludes my brief, and I will stay on the line for Q&A.
Thank you, Colonel Avichal. Our next presenter is Kiara Barnett with Public Works.
Great, thank you very much for having me this afternoon, and I'll wait for those slides to come up. Great, thank you very much. Now we can move to the next slide. We'll jump into a permit progress update. Great. And so as of this week, we continue to see progress across all phases of permitting, plan checks, and approvals. We remain committed to expediting approvals, and rebuild projects will be reviewed within 10 business days for initial reviews and 5 business days for any additional reviews. The Department of Regional Planning has been processing plans within 3 days, and building have been processing initial reviews within 11 days and resubmittals within 2 days. Additional staff and resources have been dedicated to ensure we continue to meet our turnaround commitments of 10 business days for initial reviews and 5 for resubmittals. So looking at our progress dashboard, LA County have received 874 applications and 44 permits have been issued. For issued projects, it has averaged 49 business days from initial submittal to permit issuance. And if we can move to the next slide, please. So we're showing here our approval timeline update and how our application counts have been increasing over the past few weeks. And we anticipate this growth will continue. The top line in this graph for regional planning shows the cumulative total of applications received, and the bottom line is the weekly submissions that we receive. So on the top line, you can see that we're steadily increasing our cumulative total of applications received. And again, the bottom line shows that we average about 56 plans a week into planning. And then 85 is the most we've received, but we are seeing again those numbers increasing in the last couple of weeks. And if we can move to the next slide, please. So while the last slide was for planning, then when people come in with their full building plans, this graph again shows our cumulative total of how many applications have been received with full building plans. And the orange line shows how many plans we're receiving each week. So where 32 is the average number of applications that we've received each week. Again, we see growth in the last few weeks, and our maximum has been 53 plans submitted in 1 week. And if we can move to the next slide, please. So as the supervisor mentioned, on June 17th, the Board of Supervisors approved a new policy to waive and refund permit fees for eligible homeowners rebuilding in unincorporated areas affected by the Eaton and Palisades fires. This policy is designed to make rebuilding more affordable for residents rebuilding from the fires. To qualify for a permit fee waiver or refund, applicants must be able to demonstrate that they both owned and lived on the property before January 7th, 2025. And if we can move to the next slide, please. So what projects are eligible? A project qualifies for a fee waiver or refund if it involves rebuilding a single-family home in unincorporated areas of Los Angeles County. This includes garages, accessory dwelling units, pools, or other accessory structures. Also, for a standalone ADU, which is where a homeowner first builds an accessory dwelling unit to temporarily occupy while waiting for the main house to be rebuilt also. Those standalone ADUs also qualify. Commercial, multifamily housing, and temporary housing projects or communities do not qualify for fee waivers or refunds. And if we can move to the next slide, please, on how to apply. So as the supervisor mentioned, to request a waiver or refund, homeowners must submit a request for fire rebuild fee waiver or refund form. The form can either be emailed to recovery.lacounty.gov, or it can be submitted in person at our one-stop permit centers. To download and complete the form virtually, you can scan the QR code shown on the screen using your camera or phone. And only one form is required to be submitted to the county, and we'll internally route it to all the appropriate departments to ensure that all refunds are received. And if we can move to the next slide, please. So we did post on our recovery.lacounty.gov rebuilding site today a fee waivers and refunds page. And so that new web page will host information about fee waivers and refunds. It contains detailed information and resources, and I'd like to share some of the frequently asked questions that we've posted on that site that are our most frequently asked questions. So first, is there a deadline to apply? And the answer is no, there's no deadline to apply for a fee waiver or refund. Eligible residents can submit the request at any time. Who receives the refund? Refunds are issued to the original payee, and they typically take 30 days to process. What does deferral mean? Will I have to pay later? Homeowners will not be billed later. Fees are deferred while the county seeks alternative funding sources, and qualifying applicants will not be responsible for paying them later. And another frequently asked question, how long does it take to receive a refund? And we ask that you please expect 30 days for processing of refunds after submission of the request for fire rebuild, fee waiver, or refund form. So again, as of today, you can visit the recovery.lacounty.gov site. It's recovery.lacounty.gov/fee-waivers-and refunds for more information. And if you can go to the last slide, please. That concludes my presentation today, and I thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. Our next presenter is Dr. Nicole Quick with the Department of Public Health.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to spend a couple minutes talking about the soil lead testing program that we have up and running and give folks a little bit of information on how to participate in that program. So following a board motion back in April, the county has delegated up to $3 million from the county's lead paint hazard mitigation program to offer this large-scale residential soil testing program. This program is available for properties that are located within the Eaton burn area and directly outside and downwind of the Eaton burn area. So anybody in that general vicinity, including downwind, are eligible for this free program. The way this works is that folks will self-collect soil from 4 different places in their yard. There is detailed collection information on the website. There's a submission form that you will fill out. Those soil samples are brought to a drop-off spot that we then take those and get them to a certified lab, and individuals will get back their lead results within about 7 to 10 days. I would encourage anybody interested in this to go to our website. That website is publichealth.lacounty.gov. When you go there, there is a banner at the top of that page right now that has Eaton Fire Soil Testing Program. Click that. That will take you to the soil testing webpage that has detailed information and a bunch of frequently asked questions on there. In the frequently asked questions section, you will find information on interpretation of results and detailed instructions on how to participate in this program. There is also a link on there for the free blood lead testing, which is another program that we have have that individuals can get their blood tested through Quest, through that program. All of that is available on the website. Once again, I'm going to repeat the website for folks to go to. That's publichealth.lacounty.gov, and look for the banner that's on the Eaton soil testing program. When folks do participate in that program, if there are further questions related to their results, we do have information on the website on interpretation, reference material, and pointing to other potential programs that folks can participate in. Once again, just want to urge people, if you're in the general vicinity, have concerns about lead in your soil and or your family, both the soil testing program and the blood lead testing program are still up and running, and we encourage everybody to participate in that. All right, thank you. That's all for me, and I will be answering questions.
Thank you, Dr. Quick. Next, we have Marcia Velasquez with LA Fire.
Hello, good afternoon. I will also wait for our perfect. Hello, my name is Marcia Velasquez. I work for the Los Angeles County Fire Department. I'm here to present our new special tax Measure E. Next slide, please. So Measure E was approved by the voters in November 2024. It will go into effect the new tax season, which is November 2025. This impacts 59 cities and the unincorporated areas of LA County. This new measure would levy 6 cents times the square footage of your living space, your home. It does not include any parking or your garage. The revenue collected will go towards hiring fire personnel, communication, IT, infrastructure and facilities, vehicles and aircraft, life-saving and emergency tools, as well as wildfire protection. Next slide, please. The applications went out to all LA County Fire Department residents 3 weeks ago, and we're collecting them as they come in. We do need verification of age. There's 3 different. You can submit a copy of your driver's license or your state ID, a copy of your birth certificate, or a copy of your passport. We also require verification of residency, which can also be you can also use your driver's license, a utility service bill, or any other type of government mail documents. Your verification of income, we would need your 2024 federal or state tax return or your SSA 1099. I do recommend, I ask, please, if anyone does submit, to please redact, cross out your social security number, as that is not needed. And then you also need to acknowledge 3 different boxes at the bottom, acknowledging that the number of residents that you state that live in the household is correct, that you do live in the property, and that the income is accurate, as well as there is only 1 house on the property, and then sign and date. Next slide, please. These are frequently asked questions that we've encountered in the last week and a half. For example, the adjusted gross income that can be found in your 2024 state and federal tax return. What do I do with confidential information? Like I said, please redact that information. It is not needed, especially your social security. What is a structural improvement? A structural improvement is basically any structure on the property. So just consider your property as a baseline as it being vacant. Anything from vacant is considered a structure improvement. How much do I have to pay? It's 6 cents times the square footage of your living space. It's kind of, everyone is different just because everyone's homes are different sizes. I am over the income limit in 2024, but in 2025, I am under. What do I do? You may have to pay for the tax or this new measure, and you will then qualify in 2025. We will be sending out new letters in 2025. How do I provide proof of ownership? Your AIN should be on your property tax bill. If not, don't worry about it. We can look it up with your address. By when do I have to submit? July 14th, even though we're accepting applications till the end of the month. Where do I find my adjusted gross income? Like I said earlier, on your 1040 or any of your tax returns, it should be there most likely on line 11. Line 11. Where do I mail it? 1320 Northeastern Avenue, which is our headquarters. You can also email it to our email address, and I'll show that to you shortly. Where do I have to be living? Do I have to be living in the property? Yes, you must own and live in the property. Next slide, please. So here's our contact number, 213-466-5596. Now, we are receiving a large number of calls. Please be patient. We will get to everyone, I guarantee you. If you have a basic, simple question, please refer to fire-planning@fire.lacounty.gov. And we also have our website. You can learn more about Measure E. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next presentation is from Acting Captain Ethan Marquez with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department.
Hello, thank you. Want to tell you a little bit about the crime stats that are happening in Altadena. The Altadena deputies and detectives have made numerous arrests regarding burglary suspects. The detectives have conducted in the past couple months 3 search warrants in the Pasadena Altadena area, and that also resulted in numerous arrests. Unfortunately, our last search warrant, there were some people that mistaken us for ICE. ICE has not been in Altadena to my knowledge, and we haven't been working with ICE in any way. But we're down from our home burglaries from May to June, we're down 38% to preliminarily a number of 15. And if just to give you a comparison, in December 2024, we had 12. So we're only up 3 burglaries from what we had prior to the fires, which I think is a pretty good example of how hard the Sheriff's Department's been working, and the deputies in Altadena have been working to get everything back to more of a normal level in Altadena. And we're going to continue doing what we've been doing with a lot of proactive law enforcement. Our partners at the CHP are conducting a lot of traffic enforcement, and we'll continue with those. And we're also now working on the next phase of the rebuild and focusing our efforts into what that's going to entail and how we can get ahead of any kind of problems that are going to be happening. And we'll be working with our partners at Public Works with that as well. And unless there's any questions, that's all I have right now.
Thank you very much. Our next presentation is from SoCal Edison. David and Vanessa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Supervisor Barger, for allowing us to participate in today's meeting. First, I'd like to kick off and say that SCE is committed to building back Altadena stronger. Our first phase of undergrounding work is expected to begin. I'm sorry. Okay, next slide. SCE is committed to building back Altadena stronger. The first phase of our work is expected to be completed in 2025. This timeline depends upon us securing rights of entry easements from residents. So we really need to have the residents to work with our planning department and our land management department. And a colleague of mine who is on will be presenting later. We'll talk about that in as we progress through this presentation. But it's very important that we get 100% participation to be able to meet these deadlines of undergrounding in Altadena as we build back our system. We're in the process of establishing a long-term community hub to support customers as they begin the rebuilding process, providing resources, guidance, and a central point of connection. We'll continue to build relationship with community partnerships with local organizations, nonprofits, and provide a meaningful support and resources to the community, like working with the Chamber, ACONA, the Town Council, and other community organizations, as well as stakeholders. This hub will allow us to be on site and customers can set up appointments and provide us information about their plans to rebuild, and we'll be able to provide resources and guidance as a central point of connection. Next slide. In our rebuilding plan here in Altadena, we plan to underground, 63 miles of circuit miles of distribution lines for underground, 40 miles in the high wildfire area, including 2 circuit miles under construction with the completion within the upcoming months. Some of that work that you're seeing there in Altadena is what I'm speaking to right now of what we've already started. The additional 23 miles of heavy damage infrastructure is in the non-high wildfire area. An additional 19 circuit miles are under evaluation in the non-high wildfire area as well. What we're planning on to do with this infrastructure, it will increase our capacity of voltage in Altadena from 4 kV to 16 kV. We'll be able to have building a system back to meet the clean energy initiatives of the future and increase reliability with clean energy adoption. This also includes more automated switching, fault detection, equipment to locate issues, as well as isolate disruptions and restore service a lot faster. This new technology that we're putting in will be state of the art and will allow us to have a much more robust system. And what I was mentioning earlier is building back Altadena better. I now will make a transition over to Vanessa Cardinance, who is a manager in our land management division, and she will talk about the right of entry and easement process.
Thank you, Dave. Hi, my name is Vanessa Cardenas, and as Dave was saying, I'm the project manager overseeing the land acquisitions component of the fire rebuild effort. As part of this initiative, my team and I will be reaching out to property owners to discuss the right of entry agreement and easement request. The contractor working with us on this is called Monument Right-of-Way Group. So if anyone receives a call from Monument, please know that they are working with us, and they'll be assisting with acquiring the land rights for the Eaton fire. So the right of entry agreement, or the ROE, it serves as a temporary measure, granting us access to your property and fast tracking the rebuild process to construction for the underground installation. It's important to note that your cooperation is crucial in this process, and we are seeking 100% participation from you and the surrounding community, as even just one unresponsive or unwilling property owner can potentially prevent the project from occurring. The final or permanent right, which is the easement, is what we're seeking to have our facilities in place and would allow us to maintain and keep the equipment running for the future. SCE is offering $500 for signing the ROE. There will also be additional compensation at the time of easement signing. Once the easement is prepared, an appraisal will be conducted to determine the compensation for the easement. I'd like to note that signing an ROE or an easement does not waive or release a property owner's right to file a claim against SCE. This was just a brief high-level summary of what an impacted property owner can expect when SCE reaches out to them, and I can make myself available for additional detail or questions you might have on this process. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll go to the next slide. This last slide is very important to those who are viewing this presentation. These are resources that we're providing. We have a Altadena Disaster Recovery Center that is at 464 West Woodbury Road, Suite 210 there in Altadena. And I mentioned on the other slide that we're in the process of establishing a longer term hub there in Altadena that will take the place of this site once this hub is put up in operation. In addition to that is the one-stop resource recovery disaster website, which is sce.com/disaster-recovery. We have a 1-800 number that is shown there on the screen that is open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's other support for our customers, emergency protection, bill forgiveness for customers, small business deposit waiver, and suspension of service disconnections as well. I just wanted to say, in addition to that, we're not going to replace the Altadena Disaster Recovery Center, but the hub in which we built will be an additional center that will be used for customers to get additional information and connections to planning and resources there once that site is put up. That is the end of our presentation, and feel free to put any questions in the chat or in the Q&A.
Thank you, Dave and Vanessa. Transitioning now to Cal HFA, Nicole, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I do have a slide for everyone. Thank you for having me here today. Cal HFA is the California Housing Finance Agency, and earlier this month they launched a new program to provide a bridge to recovery for many homeowners who either lost their homes or it's now uninhabitable as a result of the fires. What they're offering is up to 3 months of mortgage payments to cover that for you, free and clear. The money never has to be repaid. Up to a maximum of $20,000 per household. Applications are open. There was $105 million allocated to this program, and once those funds are all awarded, the program won't be able to continue any longer. So we do encourage people to get online and try to start applying as soon as possible. At the top of my slide here is the website. We are also, offering help by our call center. Our call center is very good at walking somebody through the application, especially if you don't feel very comfortable with technology. They can start with telling you where to click and helping you work your way through the application. Also, we're fortunate to be working with NHSLA, a housing counseling agency that has set up regular office hours in the library in Altadena. They'll also be participating in a community workshop on Saturday, this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. There'll be counselors there who can help people work with them one-on-one to apply. So to receive this grant of 3 months of mortgage payment, again, your primary residence, so your home, it needs to have a mortgage. You need to have owned and occupied that at the time of the disaster, that home. And then you need to meet the income limit for every person, the combined income limit for every person listed on the mortgage. And that amount would be in LA County, $140,700. In order to apply, it really will help you if you start gathering your documents ahead of time. However, you can save your application and come back later if you don't have everything ready when you start to apply. You need things like a mortgage statement, a bank statement, utility bill from the home that was damaged, just to establish residency, homeowner insurance or your FEMA claim, and proof of income. Like I said, we really want to encourage people to apply. If you're not sure if it's right for you, if you think you may or may not meet the income limit, please just start your application. We have a great team at our contact center to help answer questions. There's a lot more information about eligibility on our website. I just wanted to keep it kind of short and sweet here today. Happy to answer questions and hope this might be a program that could be of help. I will say we have plenty of funds still available for anybody who's worried. There has been a steady pace of applications, but there's still plenty available for anybody interested in applying. So thank you very much, and I will be happy to answer questions.
Thank you. We have one more presentation before we transition over to our questions, and that is with Dr. Michelle Majors with the Department of Mental Health.
Hi, thank you, everybody. Can you put up the first slide, please? Okay, so right now we do have an older adult support group going on for the folks that are impacted by the Eaton fire. As you can see, here are the dates. The next one's in a couple of days. So feel free, it's gonna be at Loma Alta Park and from 12 to 1 p.m. And basically it's gonna talk about, everything that people have experienced and all of that. Next slide. One of the other things that has popped up in the midst of all this is concerns about immigration. And so I just thought I would add that if you're interested, we do have a virtual support group for immigrant well-being. And this is on Tuesdays from 3:30 to 4:30. And you can check the link here and be able to call in or go on Teams and to interact with the clinician who can kind of guide you if you have any concerns regarding the situation. The other thing that we are actively working on with our partners in Parks and Rec is doing a 3 times a week group in Loma Alta Park. One would be ostensibly on the afternoon, the early afternoon. Another one would be later in the evening, and then the third session would be on the weekends. We are still working on and confirming all of that. And once I have all of that information, I will be happy to share it with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Now we'll transition to the question and answer portion of our evening. The following questions were submitted ahead of tonight's community meeting, and we will answer as many of them as we can in the allotted time. As a reminder, you can find answers to frequently asked questions on recovery.lacounty.gov/Altadena. Zoom participants can also submit questions in real time using the Q&A function found at the bottom of their screen. So for anyone who is on YouTube that would like to submit questions, we encourage you to hop onto the Zoom meeting using the QR code on your screen. Questions submitted to the YouTube chat will not be answered. Our first question is for the Department of Regional Planning. Does building a loft area when one was not present before constitute a second floor on a rebuild?
Well, that is a really good question. It depends on the height of the structure. If you are doing this within a single family structure and it's the traditional 25-foot height, not an issue. I do think that it's more of a building code issue. So I don't know if Kira is still available and can jump on. But it also depends on whether you're on septic and whether this would be considered a habitable bedroom or not. So lots of it depends. I know I never like giving it depends answers, but if you wanted to email me, I can put my email in the chat and you can email me your address and site plan and we can get you more information.
Great. Like Amy said, yeah, I think the main thing is the height, right, Amy? So they keep that 110%. And then as she mentioned, if you're connected to a private sewage system, then any spaces that could be bedrooms or bedroom equivalents, we'd want to check in with public health. But certainly for building whatever's submitted, like for like really is a planning term. And then for us, it'll just be to code, right? So whatever's allowed to be built on the site, we'll ensure it complies with code, do those safety reviews, and we check in with public health as needed.
So I would just say, since I can't put my email in the chat without answering somebody, it's abodek@planning.lacounty.gov. Thank you.
Thank you both. And this question is for Public Works. Is there a timeline for when Public Works will be fixing the roads, sidewalks, and curbs?
Great, and I can take that one. So our Public Works road maintenance is conducting patchable work within the road right-of-way, and destroyed driveway aprons and sidewalks are removed and backfilled with decomposed granite in the interim until permanent repairs are scheduled. So you can report potholes and things of that nature, either via the Works app, online at pw.lacounty.gov. You can report a problem. It's right on our landing page at pw.lacounty.gov, report a problem. Or you can call our dispatch at 1-800-675-HELP. That's 1-800-675-4357. And then reported damage is being logged into our GIS database. This real-time data collection provides critical context that directly informs our condition assessments and helps us prioritize future short, medium, and long-term repairs. So while full repairs or reconstruction, the community will need to happen after the majority of home reconstruction occurs due to ongoing damage that may be caused due to the construction. And we'll continue to address specific issues on a case-by-case basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiara. And this next question is also for Public Works, but seems like there may be an Army Corps component to it also. It asks, what can we do with smaller burned trees that the Army Corps did not remove? There's a lot of yard waste like this laying around.
Great, so I could start that one also. But you can use a normal tree removal contractor or landscaper and work with them to remove the tree or vegetation as you normally would, as long as it's not burn debris. Burn material, including vegetation, needs to go to one of the approved landfill facilities, which are identified on the recovery website. So on the recovery website, on the debris removal page, under fire debris removal, your contractor or landscaper can find a list of facilities that can accept material. And so they can work with them to see if the material is accepted. Also, if it's small enough that it fits in your green bin, that's another disposal option. But if it is a species, a special species of tree, such as an oak tree, you would need to connect with the Department of Regional Planning on that.
Thank you. If you would like to add, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if it is particularly an oak tree, we do ask that you retain that oak tree, and we would reassess it in about a year with the county forester, because oaks are highly resilient, and what may look like a partial burn may end up flourishing. But to your point on the debris that is left in the yard, I think Kiara did a great job of answering your options on that one. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you. And our next question is from Marcio with the LA County Fire Department. Does Measure E exemption apply to standing structures in Altadena? Can you clarify who it applies to?
So yes, all structures, all standing structures in Altadena. I also wanted to note that the age for the low income exemption is 62. And if your home did burn down during the Eaton fires, you would not be assessed the tax.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Our next question, will the streamlined permit approval process continue until the last home is rebuilt, or is there going to be a deadline after which the timeline will return to normal?
I will answer that, and I did answer that in the chat. We are right now looking at 5 years. That is our typical initial response to the fires under the disaster recovery ordinance. We can absolutely reassess and extend that time frame depending on the volume of permits that still need to be issued or not. So at least 5 years, and then we'll play it by year after that.
Thank you very much. Our next question is for our representatives from SoCal Edison. How can fire victims find out if their specific address will be undergrounded? The website only refers to certain circuits and the map shown is not clear.
So at this time, we will be reaching out to customers through something.
Vanessa, we can't hear you.
Sorry, you can't hear me?
Now we can, yes.
Oh, you can. Okay, great. So at this time, we'll be reaching out to customers and property owners through a Dear Neighbor letter. That's just a letter that will be mailed and emailed to the property owners. in addition to making phone calls to them and reaching out to them directly, in the near future, we will have a map that will be representative of what addresses will be impacted. So that's what we're working on right now. But for the immediate moment, they can just expect some kind of notification, email or mail.
Great. And a follow-up question, what is the estimated cost per property to hook up to the underground system?
The cost to connect will vary based on each home, and we are currently working with the county and state to try to identify ways to offset those costs.
Got it. And another question for SoCal Edison, can you describe what type of easement will be needed from every property? Is it along the side, the front?
So the pole lines are for the general area of Altadena are, to my knowledge, in the rear of the property, and what they're trying to do is design them towards the front of the property. I think they're trying to do that in most cases, but each impacted property will have its own specific design, and then we'll be able to present that once we reach out with the right of entry agreement. We'll have a small exhibit or a map that shows exactly how the circuit will affect that property.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. Oh, we have another question for SoCal Edison. It reads, when we installed our solar system with a battery backup in 2019, it took several months for SoCal Edison to approve the installation. What is SCE going to do to speed up that process for rebuilds?
I know that we do have the customer service center that's been installed. I would have to get more information on what's being done in the background to help expedite that process in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next question is for our representatives on with any of the Altadena community water agencies. Are water rates going to be raised significantly in Altadena to pay for the new infrastructure?
Currently, each company is reviewing future revenue needs. So unfortunately, I don't have the answer. I know Lincoln Avenue, we did have a rate increase planned for 2025, and that's currently under review.
Great, thank you. And one more question for the water companies, Jennifer, if this is for
Yes.
you or anyone else who can answer. Can someone offer an update on the informal discussion that took place on June 5th with consolidation as a topic?
So part of that discussion was going to have to be sent back to each agency's respective boards before a statement could be issued. So any individual looking for those answers would have to go to their water agency.
Got it. Thank you. We have a question for regarding the CalAssist Mortgage Fund. We actually have a few questions. Does owning another property eliminate your eligibility for the mortgage grant, and why?
Sorry, I'm working. Oh, there we go. Yes, it does. The program only is for people who own one primary residence, and that is really to ensure that we're getting to it's because it's a limited fund really to those people who are most vulnerable and don't have other housing options.
Okay, and then the next question is, does the grant program apply to those with HELOCs rather than a traditional mortgage?
Yeah, I would. I did see that one in the Q&A and I responded. I really encourage anybody with questions about the type of mortgage or type of loan that they have to call our contact center at 1-800-501-0019. They're open 8 to 5, 5 days a week. So I encourage you to call them and they can help answer those questions for you.
Okay, and it looks like we've got one final one. Is the 140,700 a gross or a net? And is there a different qualifier for each family size?
Okay, so it is a gross, so it is your gross income, And your household size for this program does not matter. So if it's a household of 1 or 15 people, it's just $140,700 for LA County, and it's the combined gross income for the people listed on the deed only. So it's not all the adults who live in the house, but just the people listed on the mortgage.
Great, thank you very much. We do have a question for the assessor's office. It reads, will property taxes be deferred or canceled for homes that burn down? And if so, how long will that deferment last?
Okay, this is Matthew Herrera with the Assessor's Office. So property taxes, there's an executive order that suspends penalties and interest on late property tax payments until April 10th of 2026. So property taxes will not be canceled, but potentially their property taxes can be reduced. And what they would need to do is, in order for a reduction, if they sustain damage of over $10,000, it requires that they file a misfortune and calamity claim with the assessor's office. And what that will do is that claim will be reviewed, and then an adjustment can be made to the assessment on the value of the property, and that would result in a reduction of taxes, but not a cancellation of the property taxes.
Got it. Thank you so much for clarifying that. We have a question for SoCal Edison. Is SCE offering rebates or free battery backup systems for high fire severity zone homeowners?
I apologize. Unless Dave, I'm not sure if you have information on that. We'll have to get back to this group on that.
Okay. Dave, anything to add? Okay, moving on and turning back to the mortgage relief fund. What if the other home that we own is occupied by a tenant and the home that was damaged was our primary residence?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Unfortunately, with this program, it really is only available to people with just one, that own just one home, and then that home needs to be the primary residence. It does allow, if your property has multiple units on it, up to 4, so you live in one of them and then rent out 3 on the same property, then that would be eligible, as well as a number of other property types, which are listed on our website, calassistmortgagefund.org.
Thank you very much. The next question is for Public Works. And it reads, we live on a private road. We and our neighbors have an easement of the road, and it is not a cul-de-sac, it's a pass-through street. The equipment removing the debris from our streets and other nearby streets has damaged our street badly. Will Public Works fix the private streets, or should the residents pay for repairs?
What we could do is come out and verify that it's a private road, but it is the public roads that we would be doing future projects for.
Thank you. And does that also apply to driveways that are on those private roads?
Yeah, I know there was one there for Army Corps. I don't know if anything was damaged during the fire debris removal, if there's any recourse for a property owner, but otherwise I would anticipate that repair would be part of the rebuild on the private roads.
Okay, thank you. Another question for SoCal Edison. Will we be required to pay for a temporary utility pole? Sorry, Vanessa, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. This is another one I have to get back to the group on cost for temporary poles.
Okay, thank you. And then a clarifying question for property taxes. For each resident, how will we know if our property and street will be getting undergrounding? Will you only be contacting people who need an easement, or are you going to contact every resident who will be undergrounded?
Is that for the assessor or is that for Southern
Apologies,
California?
no, that is for SoCal Edison, yes.
Okay.
Can you repeat that question one more time?
Sure. How will we know if our property and street is going to be getting undergrounding? Can you clarify if you will be contacting only the people who need an easement, or if you'll be contacting every resident who will be undergrounded?
There will be Dear Neighbor letters that are sent out to the impacted community and block. So there's going to be sort of two letters. One is going to be for the ROE and easement requests, and then the other is for the project. So you will receive notification even if we're not requesting an easement from you.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Of course.
A question for the mortgage fund. If you were forced to pay off your mortgage balance to have control over your rebuild, can we still apply to help with the rebuild of the structure?
This program really only can, sorry, let me back up. The funds for this program came from the national mortgage settlement from the early 2000s with the housing crisis. And there are parameters about how those funds can be used. And one of those is we pay the funds actually directly to the mortgage servicer. So we can't provide the grants to the homeowner. The grants actually go to your mortgage company. And so for that reason, we cannot fund people whose homes were paid off.
Okay, thank you very much. And that concludes the time that we have today for questions. As a reminder, you can find answers to frequently asked questions on recovery.lacounty.gov /Altadena. Signing off.